How are people dealing with priorities today?
Not very well. It's really interesting. I'll share a little story. I was walking here for the interview, so walking to the subway, and I was at a traffic light, and this lady turned and looked at me, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And then we crossed, and then she was walking a little bit behind me, and then she came up next to me, and she goes, "Are you the guy with the YouTube videos?" And I go like, "Which ones?" And she's not. The motivational ones. I'm like, oh yeah, that one. Okay. Didn't know what YouTube video she was talking about. Anyway, she started talking, and we caught the same train. And one of the things she said is that, I don't know what I want in life.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I want in life. So if you have no idea what you want in life, how then can you prioritize your life? You can't prioritize. And if you ask most people, what do you want in life? They're like, to be happy. Happiness is not a focus. Happiness is not a priority in life. Happiness comes as a byproduct of living a certain way. But first you have to be super clear of how you want to live your life. What is your life about? What's your purpose in life? And most people don't know. And because they don't know their purpose, then they don't know their priorities. The purpose defines your priorities. And once you have clear of your purpose defines your priorities. Once you know your priorities, then you can focus on them. But if you don't know your purpose, then you don't know your priorities. So to answer your questions, how are people dealing with priorities? Not very well, because most people have no idea what their priorities in life are. And then one thing she said to me on the train is that, she's talking about relationships, and she says, I know what I don't want in a man. I thought to myself, no, you don't. The only time you know when you don't want something is when you know what you want, right? When you know what you want, that's when you know what you don't want. If you don't know what you want, how can you know what you don't want? Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
So when she said, I know what I don't want in a man, I'm like, that's not clear. Because if I asked her, what do you want in a man? She has no idea.
It's also, in a way, a very negative approach, right? Like seeing like what you don't want instead of seeing the good, like what do I want?
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's also parts that maybe you don't want, but you can accept because you get the things that you do want.
Exactly, right. Yep. But yeah, most people never take any time to figure out what they want in life, so they don't know what their priorities are.
We're talking about purpose now, finding purpose in life, and how do you practice finding, because your purpose is not something that is just there. A lot of people give workshops on promise, like 45 minutes, and there is your purpose.
Exactly. They make tons of money.
Yeah, probably. How do you practice finding your purpose?
I always tell people the simple way to start is to spend time with yourself. So, I've spent time with you and your husband, whenever I come to Hamburg. And the more time I spend with the both of you, the more I get to know you. But we haven't spent a lot of time. So whenever I'm in Hamburg, we've met on different occasions and stuff like that. But if I wanted to get to know you and Christoph really well, I have to spend time with both of you. So just say if I lived in Hamburg and every week we went out to dinner or lunch and I spent 2 hours with you and Christoph, then after a year, the three of us would get to know each other very well. Because every week you're spending 2 hours with me. You know what I like, what I don't like, when I'm cranky, when I'm upset, what makes me happy. Most people never spend any time with themselves. So how would they know what they want in life, right? So the only way I can get to know someone is by spending time with them, right? So if you ask someone, how much time do you spend with yourself? Most people say, they don't spend any time. They say, when I walk the dog, that's when I spend time. That's my alone time. I say, no, that's you walking the dog.